Again, quite an interesting question. Fiag company. Okay. APM is one paper where I think I have told this to you 3 or 4 times before this. Ki reading the requirement itself makes no difference because the content is here. The expectation is usually at the end of the exhibit. Okay. The expectation is not here. If you look at, say, SBR, AFM, whatever, the expectation is specifically contained in these paragraphs, okay, in the requirement, but they specifically tell you assess this, assess that. But here, you will have to look at the exhibits in their entirety to understand. But पूछा क्या है? Write a report to the chief executive to respond to his instructions for work on the following areas: performance reporting, 12 marks for the first part of the work required and 14 for the second part of the work, and consultants report on the external business environment. Fiag Bicycles is a large national bicycle manufacturer in the well-developed country of Beeland. It was a family-owned business until 3 years ago when it raised new funds from a venture capitalist to develop new models of bicycle. Of the 8 models in its current range, 2 have been significantly redesigned and one totally new model has been launched in 2004. This new model has been developed over 5 years and is Fiag's most radical development to date, as it is lightweight and has an electrical battery which can assist less physically fit riders to cycle up hills. The VC invested 30 million in 2002 and insisted that Fiag produce a mission statement as a clear indication of the company's objective. The objective of Fiag is to give the shareholders sustainable growth in return by developing and manufacturing the best quality bicycles and to bring the joy of cycling to a broad customer base in Beeland. Performance reporting. The VC has a non executive director on the board of Fiag. She has criticized the executive directors over the most recent performance report that was presented to the board meeting in order to review the annual performance to 30th June. Firstly, she was very unhappy about what she felt were attempts to manipulate the picture presented in the report. Secondly, she repeated criticism that she had given in earlier board meetings that the report does not address the company's objectives. She then demanded that the executive directors take action on these points immediately and asked that the board meeting be reconvened once this is done. The CEO wants you, as a performance expert in the company, to give him advice on these matters. He is committed eventually to a redesign of the performance reporting at FIAG, but needs to understand the non executive director's concerns more clearly before this begins. He is happy that there are no arithmetic errors in the presentation of the performance report, but wants a critical review from you, addressing the questions of manipulation in the impressions given by the report, assessing whether the current report addresses the company's objectives, and briefly any other issues in the presentation. So, what does he want? Critical review addressing the question of manipulation in the impression given by the report, any other issues in its presentation. Now, for that, this is the performance report, okay? Appendix 1, they have specifically mentioned that annual performance report is in Appendix 1. You have revenue, cost of sales, मतलब पूरा आपको financial data they have given. Revenue from new and redesigned bicycle models grew by 200% in 2005. PBT has improved by 86%. Operating margin has fallen by a small 1.8%. Administrative expenses include the income from a 2-year government grant of 5 million per annum relating to Zome. Revenue includes revenue from Zome, new electrical cycle, 25 million in 2005, 5 million in 2004. Exceptional costs are the costs of developing the new electrical bicycle. ठीक है. अब this is the performance report, and these are some of the notes that they have given. This is external business environment, not required. Address the question of manipulation in the impression given by the report, and whether the current report addresses the company's objectives, and briefly any other issues in presentation. First of all, tell me, what are the objectives of the company?
To give the shareholders sustainable growth in return
To
by
give,
providing best quality bicycles.
okay. The objective, as you can see, is to give the shareholders sustainable growth in returns by developing and manufacturing the best quality bicycles. And so, oh my God, bring the joy of cycling. This is stupid. But give the shareholders sustainable growth in return by developing and manufacturing the best quality bicycles. What is the non-executive director saying? That she criticized the executive directors over the most recent performance report that was presented to the board meeting in order to review the annual performance to 30th June. Firstly, she was very unhappy about what she felt were attempts to manipulate the picture presented in the report. Why would she say that there are attempts to manipulate picture presented in the report? क्या हो रहा है ऐसा? She repeated criticism that she had given in earlier board meetings that the report does not address company's objectives. She then demanded that the executive directors take action on these points immediately and asked that the board meeting be reconvened once this is done. She is alleging that there are manipulations in the report. There are certain issues. Why do you think she would say that? See, second point that she is saying is that it does not align with the company's objectives or it does not talk about it. वो भी that also has to be spoken about. But what do you think are some of the bigger, brighter challenges coming our way here?
So I feel that there is manipulation because the revenue from new cycle has grown by 200%, but the PBT has only improved by 86. That means I feel that there must be loss in manufacturing of old bicycles. Uh,
See, but what you are commenting right now is you are commenting on it like a financial reporting person. You are commenting on it like an accountant. You are looking at data or accounting ratios से आप आंसर कर रहे हो, which is okay. But this is a performance report. Think about it that way. If you see, if you look at the calculation, they have shown industry average only with respect to the operating profit margin. Correct? So, first of all, they are trying to, I believe, in some way, they are trying to cover up the bad news. And why am I saying that? आपने सिर्फ एक comparison factor क्यों दिया? You should have written about what is the industry revenue also, na? You should have written what is the industry revenue. You are giving only one comparison factor, which is PBT. You are not talking about the revenue, and it is quite possible that your revenue is lower as compared to the industry. Year on year percentage changes are missing, right? Revenue improvement year on year is given. Cost of sales, gross profit दिया है, फिर बाकी का नहीं दिया है ना. There is no consistency there. Other items show a decline. Operating profit percentage fall is not shown. What is operating profit percentage? 19 से 13 हो गया ना, वो तो दिखाया ही नहीं है. यू कांट से कि अरे द अदर पर्सन हैज अ कैलकुलेटर इन हिज हैंड, वो कैलकुलेट करके बता देगा. दैट कैनॉट बी that cannot be your response when I level this criticism at you. If you are giving an year on year comparison, it should have been given for everything. The very fact that you have not given it for operating margin means there is a poor performance, and you don't want to explicitly highlight that poor performance. You are trying to avoid giving or becoming the forebearer of bad news. So I think ये सबसे बड़ा प्रॉब्लम है कि A, adequate comparison points have not been given. B, the year on year change also is not given, so people might not be focusing on the right cost. है ना? People might not be focusing on the right parameters. Then look at the look at the data here. ठीक है. Administrative expenses include the income from a 2-year government grant of 5 million relating to Zome. Revenue includes revenue from Zome. Exceptional costs are the costs of developing the new electrical bicycle. Exceptional costs were included last year. Do you, matlab, there is something off with it. They relate to development of a new electrical bicycle, है ना? So why are they exceptional costs?
yes,
Exception
sir. Shouldn't they be capitalized? I think.
capitalized. could be one way of looking at it. Or what is the main business of the company? See, you are, when you say capitalize, you are thinking about it from a financial reporting perspective, right? आपको आपका mindset change करना पड़ेगा. You are not a financial reporting expert. You are a performance management expert. For you, capitalization is not so important. For you, future maintainable earnings or consistency in cost classification, that is more important for you right now. Don't don't think about IAS 38 if that is the direction you are taking here. ठीक है, don't think about it that way. Then what should your thought process be? Your thought process here is that, see, these costs, they are calling them exceptional costs, but they are pretty regular costs for a company whose main business is developing newer technologies for bicycles. Na, unka रोज का काम है, don't call it exceptional cost, right? You are trying to show it as an exceptional cost because you don't want your operating profit to fall down, and that might have a bad impact on ROCE. So you're trying to avoid that. Then administrative expenses include government grant, which should be shown separately, right? So, and it should be spread over a couple of years or whatever number of years are there. है ना? So you cannot just credit it to 1 year का income or 2 years का income. That income you cannot credit that to expense and reduce the amount of expenditure, because again that would be misleading. So I believe another problem with the report is cost classification issue. Then what else? This, you were saying something about revenue growth, Yukta. What was that?
So the revenue for new bicycles has grown by 200%, but the PBT has just improved by 86. So I feel that they are just sugarcoating that the profit has been increased by 86, whereas it should have been increased more if compared to the revenue growth. So they might be hiding the losses which they have incurred on the old bicycles.
Okay. Urvaksh, what do you have to say on this?
So I don't, relating to revenue, I don't have much to say, but operating margin, they are saying it is, I have my doubts on operating margin,
Go
the
ahead.
percentage. I mean, tech, it is not fallen by 1.8%. Like the calculation is wrong. It,
Yes, when you are going from 6.6 to 4.8, you are going from 6.6% last year to 4.8% current year. So fall is how much? It's a fall of 27%. So clearly you are in no mood to tell the truth. है ना? It's a fall of 27.27%. Absolutely on point. So this is wrong. Has PBT improved by 86% profit before taxes? What do you think? So your point is absolutely bang on, Urvaksh. That's correct.
I mean, if you, for PBT, as per the simple layman calculation, yes, it has improved by 86%.
Okay. And when we are talking about revenue, don't necessarily analyze it from a financial reporting perspective, but don't you think this is selective commentary, selective reporting? Overall revenue has ओवरऑल रेवेन्यू हैज फॉलन ना. 289 का 273 हो गया है. बट यू आर कमेंटिंग एंड मेकिंग अ सिलेक्टिव कमेंट दैट रेवेन्यू फ्रॉम न्यू एंड रीडिजाइंड बाइसिकल मॉडल्स grew by 200%. That's again a problematic item because selective reporting हो रहा है. So that is also an issue. Fair enough. And it is not commenting on all the items, only selective commentary is happening. Now this was the first part, okay, wherein we spoke about addressing the question of manipulation in the impression given by the report. We are on point with that. Now, addressing whether the current report addresses the company's objectives and briefly any other issues in its presentation. We identified that there is one objective of the company to give the shareholders sustainable growth in returns by developing and manufacturing the best quality bicycle. अब ये कैसे करेंगे आप? हाउ डू यू थिंक वी कैन अचीव दिस? First of all, mention what is the objective. Okay. And how exactly are you going to achieve that? High product development, high quality manufacturing. Here, they are talking about objectives में to give the shareholders sustainable growth in return by developing and manufacturing the best quality bicycle. You will manufacture the best quality bicycle. You will develop the broad customer base in Ireland. That is all. Ireland नहीं, Beeland, sorry. You have to develop that customer base also. उसकी भी बात हो रही है यहाँ पे. So you're talking about all of these things. Now, if you observe carefully, there is no metric, no profit after tax, ROI, or economic value added, which will give a measure of returns to the shareholders. That is not mentioned. So shareholder return के जो parameters and ratios है, those are not given anywhere. Then sustainability is not given. See here, sustainability is not ESG wala sustainability, but it is sustain the ability to sustain revenue and the business in the way it is happening right now. That is not mentioned anywhere. Then they are talking a lot about quality products. There is no measure for product quality, right? uh, you are only relying on internal financial data. Non-financial indicators are not present, they are not given. External market information is given only for industry margin, not for anything else. There was a focus on development of customer base in Beeland, nothing about customer acquisition numbers, retention data, customer satisfaction score, nothing on that front. No evidence of how you are going to broaden the appeal of that particular product, so missing on that. Then uh, it lacks information on multiple fronts, which is why it is still not able to serve the second objective, which is whether the current report addresses the company's objectives or not. To answer a question like this, note what the company's objectives are and how they are not getting achieved. Okay. So for that, measuring Fiag's objectives failure in the report, please have a look at this. Always state the objective first and then talk about why it doesn't seem to be achieved in any way. Tell me when you want me to scroll.
Please scroll.
While you read this, I'll just be back. Okay. And other challenges with the report: planning role of the board, control role of the board, and presentation not very clear, commentary inadequate, no linkage to objectives, and format is okay, format can be better, but so these are some of the aspects that you can focus on. The second part of the question is, CEO has recognized that the company operates in an increasingly volatile external business environment. Therefore, he has employed a consultant to perform a pest analysis, and he has given you the relevant extracts of their report. He stated that he does not want you to re-perform the consultant's analysis of the external environment. This is a very specific instruction. Don't re-perform pest analysis. He wants you to focus on the implications of the pest factors identified on Fiag's business, and then on providing a justified recommendation of suitable performance indicators to measure the impact of each of those factors. Okay. So what you are supposed to do is implications of the pest factors identified on Fiag's business, and then on providing a justified recommendation of suitable performance indicators to measure the impact of these. Here you have extract of report by a consultant: political environment, economic, socio-cultural, and technological. PEST is like, SBL maybe we do that pest analysis bit. So आपको क्या करना है? Implications of the pest factors identified on Fiag's business. Try to underline the main part. Implications of pest factors on the business, and then recommendation of suitable performance measures. Political factors: government of Beeland has recently provided tax allowances to citizens who use a bicycle to commute to work. It has also supported cycling by building many new dedicated cycle paths. Tax allowances, I think it's positive for the business. Bicycle paths on the side of the road is positive. I mean, it's a good indicator. It will help to grow the demand. Uh, and what could be some of the key performance indicators here? The market size for that bicycles business. Then, how much will Fiag gain from the tax allowances? And that could be a performance indicator. But these political changes are positive, or they are in favor of the company. Okay. Then Beeland has seen steady economic growth for 20 years, and this wealth has spread throughout the society. If wealth has spread, that means they have more money, and if people have more money, then they are going to get heart diseases, and then they will cycle more. But all jokes apart, the introduction of significant import tariffs has surprised many businesses such as Fiag, who import raw material or subcomponents for final assembly. See, there is growing wealth, so that ideally means, there will be more spending, there will be greater margins. But uh, if that happens, if the economy has grown overall, then the wage cost will also go up. The tariffs are increasing. So because of tariffs, the cost will go up, and it will lead to falling profit margins. Correct. And that could be the impact on the business. Okay. Now, having a healthy lifestyle has become an increasingly popular aspiration for the people. Population of Beeland is aging with increasing number of retired people. I think people preferring a healthy lifestyle will show greater interest in cycling, and with that age, with thoda sa senior citizen wala group, I think there will be a higher demand for e-bikes like this spoke. Correct. And from a technological perspective, cheap new materials are enabling lighter bicycles to be built without compromising their strength. Battery technology has rapidly advanced so that it is feasible to fit lightweight electrical power units to bicycles. Okay, so if there is new lightweight material, it will give you competitive advantage. And so these points, will spell positive approach for the business, right? And then we have to define key performance indicators. In socio-cultural dynamics, you can talk about demand for e-bikes versus traditional bikes. In technology, you can talk about, see, there is this new lightweight material which is going to be fitted. So weight of the cycle of your company versus that of the competitor, that could be a comparison point. Then direct material cost per unit, वो आप include कर सकते हैं. Then contribution per unit, again, वो तो it will change from situation to situation, but bringing in that new lightweight material can have an impact on the variable cost and therefore on the contribution. ठीक है. So have a look.
Uh, so can we include elements of skepticism in our answer? Like you have mentioned, cheap materials are being used, battery technology is being used, but there's no quality control checks in place that have been mentioned. But
Mm-hmm.
this could potentially, hamper the image of the company, because like we've noticed that the company is trying to hide financial indicators that could possibly hiding non-financial factors as well.
That would be, yes, we could definitely mention that. And that can add to the skepticism angle, no doubt. ठीक है. So this is pretty much, everything that was there to do in this question. And when you are framing your answer, naturally you will have to look at the format and, take those, or like you mentioned, the skepticism point. Utilizing those in your answer will help you fetch additional marks. Now, see, now that you have studied the entire syllabus and you have looked at different questions, I'm sure you have had a fair idea of how exactly our answer is supposed to be framed. So continue with that. Ideally, at least give me 2 marks for evaluation so that I can, communicate my feedback to you properly. Okay, let's do that and let's work towards getting you with the right confidence in the paper.